Let's talk about Francis Stone, aka Hot Streak, in my DC cinematic universe. Francis is a piece of shit. He comes from a long line of violent assholes, and he himself is a very violent asshole. He shoplifted from stores, he picked fights, and eventually this got him initiated into a gang. And on top of all of those activities, he's also a very bad high school student. He's kind of an idiot. And when he was being teased for that one day, with his grades specifically being compared to the grades of Virgil Hawkins, it infuriated him. Francis started to pick on Virgil. Eventually, Francis started to beat up Virgil pretty regularly. But one day that would be put to a stop by Ivan Evans, the leader of a gang who'd been attacking Francis's gang for quite a while. When Francis told the head of his gang that he was beat up by Ivan and threatened to stay away from this kid, this dude's boss knew something was going on. Ivan was getting greedy. That gang was probably planning something. And then later, that shootout that I talked about the last couple days happens. This dude gets hit by the gas, and it turns out he is a metahuman as well. It activates his dormant metagene, and his is pyrokinesis. After his powers activated, he was one of the only ones in his entire gang with the metagene. This dude just went on a crime spree. Just started attacking everything. The amount of firepower this dude was gifted with made him nearly unstoppable. But I do say nearly, because his crime spree would be brought to an end by none other than Static. He'd be thrown in prison initially, but he'd break out again. He appears again in the second Static Shock movie, but just in the beginning as sort of a brief look how far Virgil has come kind of moment, because this guy's one of the main antagonists of the first movie, but then he breaks out of prison again, goes on another crime spree, and gets stopped really quickly by a much more experienced Static a couple years later, and he's thrown in prison again. But the difference with this crime spree is he killed a couple people this time. So this dude didn't just get thrown back into the prison he had been, he got transferred to Belle Reve Penitentiary. And eventually he's selected by Amanda Waller to join her Task Force X to hunt down the rogue android known as Amazo. And don't worry, guys. Yes, Amazo totally kills him. Amazo shreds this man, drains him of his blood, and absorbs his pyrokinetic abilities. Fuck you, Francis!